It was a rare evening when I was home alone. My wife had gone to visit her parents, and the kids were at their grandmother's. I enjoyed the silence. Pizza, a glass of beer, the new season of a TV series. Those moments when the house seems too big and too quiet. I even turned off my phone so no one would disturb me. When I went to the kitchen to get a drink, I noticed movement in the window out of the corner of my eye. A dark figure flashed in the reflection of the glass. I thought it was just my imagination. I turned on the light and looked outside. Nothing, but I had a feeling that someone was watching me. I returned to the sofa, but the show no longer held my attention. Every time my gaze fell on the window, I expected to see someone there. But there was nothing. I even chuckled to myself. Psychology is a remarkable thing. When I went back to the kitchen, I saw him. A human silhouette was standing by the fence. It wasn't moving, just standing there. I turned off the light and went closer. The silhouette disappeared. I opened the door and looked outside. Silence. I returned to the house and locked all the doors. And then I heard someone stepping on the wooden planks at the back door. The footsteps were slow and cautious. Someone was checking the door. I froze, listening to every sound. I dialed 911. Every minute of waiting seemed like an eternity. The house suddenly became unusually loud. I could hear everything: the creaking of furniture, the dripping of water, my heart pounding in my ears. The police arrived and searched the yard. They found no one. But in the morning, I noticed footprints. They ran along all the windows, stopping under each one. It was one of those evenings when everything falls into place perfectly. The workday was exhausting, but now I'm home alone. No need to go anywhere, answer to anyone, or see anyone. I bought some ready-made food in advance, chose a TV series that I had been putting off for months, and already knew that tonight would be all mine. I even put my phone on silent mode. I want silence, comfort, a blanket, hot tea, a TV series compilation on YouTube. The most ordinary kind of happiness. Our house is small. One floor, a small porch, old wooden floors. The neighborhood is suburban, very quiet. So quiet that sometimes it feels like you're the only one in the neighborhood. Everyone knows everyone else, and strangers don't come here. That's why I've always felt at ease. I can't even remember the last time I checked the locks. I love evenings like this, when the street is quiet. Only the barking of dogs can be heard in the distance, and you can hear the wind barely stirring the leaves on the trees. You're at home. Everything is under control. Everything is familiar. But it's precisely this feeling of complete control. It's always illusory. Around 9 o'clock in the evening, when I had already wrapped myself in a blanket and settled down comfortably, I heard a strange sound. It was a quiet, drawn-out creak. I immediately knew where it was coming from. Our porch is old, the boards are warped, and they make this distinctive sound when someone steps on them. You can't mistake it for the wind or some random noise. It was a step, a stranger's step. At first, I just froze, listening. The rational part of my brain came up with 1,000 explanations. Maybe it was the neighbor's cat. Maybe the mailman had left something. Although it was evening and the post office was already closed. I approached the door cautiously. I stood to the side of the peephole so that my silhouette wouldn't be visible. Then I slowly leaned over and looked. No one, but the feeling that someone was there didn't go away. I even opened the door a couple of inches to look out. Silence, an empty street. I stood there for a couple of minutes, closed the door, and locked it. For some reason, I did it slowly, almost apologizing to myself, as if I was admitting that the sound had affected me after all. I went back to the sofa, but now the TV series was just background noise. I listened to the silence. At moments like this, the house suddenly starts to sound different. Every crack, every click of the furniture seems too loud. 15 minutes passed. I managed to convince myself that nothing strange had happened. I was almost relaxed. At that very moment, I heard another sound. A click. Very clear. The click of a lock. I froze. It's not that I'm an expert on lock sounds, but at that moment I knew for sure. Someone had inserted a key into the keyhole. Time seemed to slow down. I sat on the sofa, straining my ears, trying not to breathe. A few seconds later, another sound. The door handle began to turn slowly, not jerkily, not like when someone tries to enter in a panic. Someone was methodically, confidently checking the lock, as if they knew what they were doing. I didn't move. Every muscle in my body was tense, but I couldn't get up. Only my heart was pounding wildly in my chest. At that moment, a voice rang out, calm, as if he knew I could hear him. "I'm sorry, I think I have the wrong address." The intonation was too even. No embarrassment, no surprise, as if the man knew it wasn't true. I continued to sit there, not making a sound. The doorknob stopped, but I knew he was still there. He hadn't left. Those seconds seemed like an eternity. You're sitting in your own home, and on the other side, a thin wooden door separates you from a stranger who wanted to get inside. And he's in no hurry to leave. I slowly reached for the phone. I dialed 911 and whispered an explanation of the situation. The operator asked me to speak more quietly, stay in the room, and wait. I quietly got up and went to the kitchen, where the door was out of sight. From the living room, I could hear him breathing. He just stood there and listened. 2 minutes passed, 3, 5. It felt like he was playing a game, testing how long I would last. When I said into the phone, "I've already called the police, they're on their way," I deliberately said it loudly. And then the silence behind the door became final. There were no footsteps. There was simply no more breathing. I waited 10 minutes before approaching the door again. I looked through the peephole. No one was there. But when I went to the window on the side of the house, I saw a shadow walking away in the distance, around the corner of the building. He was in no hurry. He didn't even look back. The police arrived 5 minutes later. They walked around the yard and inspected the street. As usual, nothing. No traces, no cameras that could have recorded anything. The next day, I changed the locks. Since then, I always lock the door, even if I'm only leaving for a minute.